Hi everyone and welcome to another channeled messages reading. Today we have a specific subject because Mars just entered the sign of Aries, a part of the sky where it's really strong and powerful and highly influential, but at the same time it is going to stay in this part of the sky for 6 months opposed to 6 weeks, what it usually takes this planet to transit a sign. So that means that we are going to be under a very heavy Martian influence for a lot of time. And Mars is a very important planet. And if any planet has like direct manifestations and can trigger certain events there and then, well, that is definitely Mars, because it is so very action oriented. It is the god of war after all, so it awakens our instincts and our senses, especially in its home and its throne, its palace, its headquarters basically of Aries, the head. Also, the ancients view Mars as the lower malefic, meaning that it always brings challenges, tension, stress, wars, conflicts, friction. So there is a certain negativity associated with Mars. But it's not that Mars is evil, it just stirs things up. And if there's, unclear feelings and whatever inside of us or in our lives stagnating, well, Mars brings those to the surface. So naturally, we can see why it can trigger unpleasant events. And of course, from a karmic perspective, Mars is equally as important and powerful because it is the activator. It basically activates the karma and brings forth manifestations. And as I said earlier, they are very quick and almost instant, especially if it converses with other planets. And we have 6 months of Mars here, so it is definitely going to be holding a lot of conversations. And that is why I found it very useful to take a look at how Mars can influence your life in the next 6 months, where these short channeled messages are random. Just take what resonates, take what, matches your situation and the way you are living and experiencing the present moment, and of course discard everything that doesn't resonate. Of course, this reading I try to attribute a personal individual symbolism for all of the cards and all of the messages, and there is a very short message of how all of this is going to play out collectively. So the first part of every message is going to be individual, and the second part is going to be a collective one. So the first message, we have the High Priest reversed and the Wheel of Fortune. Well, this speaks for some people that how Mars is going to manifest in their lives in the next 6 months has very much to do with their faith and with their inner structures, their own individual sense of normality, the principles and philosophies, and even the morality which governs their lives, their integrity, their everyday routines. So for them, all of this is going to have a very massive turn of events, where the High Priest reversed might suggest that just in the pretty recent past, a year ago or maybe 2 years ago, your old way of thinking, your old life view, life philosophies, your old state of normality has been totally shattered, and of course you found something totally new. You have reconstructed it, you aligned and profoundly resonated with something new, something unique to you, something rather ingenious. And this Wheel of Fortune represents that slowly but surely, gradually over the next 6 months of your life, karma, fate, the universe, call it whatever you want, is just going to demonstrate one karmic manifestation at a time just how right you are, just how healthy, open-minded, adaptable, versatile. Basically the key word here is healthy. Your current faith, spirituality, philosophy, life view, and perspective is. Of course, this might have moments when all of this is going to be rather uncomfortable, when you're going to be in severe doubt, but it's not anything bad, it's not a big crisis, it is definitely not going to be the dark night of the soul, but simply your faith, your spirituality, your own life view and philosophy crystallizing within yourself, because reality, your life, is going to reflect your truth, your principles, everything that you believe right now. And sometimes that won't be like a direct manifestation, because it can be the manifestation of your old and misaligned faith, showing you through the example of others of just how guided and blessed you were to awaken at the right time, because slowly and surely all of this is going to be leading you towards a life of stability, a life where you no longer rely on any external source of information, any external source of faith, no religion, no rigid dogmas or traditions. This is where you're going to be living your life 100% your own unique way, and chances are that nothing can interfere with your relations to yourself and to the spirit that you embody anymore. So in other words, if you are someone who is just waiting for a big karmic manifestation to prove to you that you were in the rights all along, well, this is definitely your 6 months. Basically, in the next 6 months, it is definitely coming, and it will be something that you will remember and you will be grateful to yourself for the rest of your life. Additionally, for the collective, this just represents that the symbolism of the high priest, meaning religion, religious institutions, organized morality, for example, the legal systems, the political systems, for example, democracy, capitalism, all of that is going to suffer massive changes. This is where, as resistant and as, strong and powerful, centralized power in all of its expressions is, may it be government, big corporations, organizations, religious institutions, call it whatever you want, patriarchy, even the big powers that control social media, for example, anything is slowly but surely going to collapse, because it's not a person or it's not a group of people fighting them. It is karma, it is fate, it is the divine. So it doesn't matter how big they are, it doesn't matter how well they played all of their game until this present moment. This is where, in the face of the creator, in the face of the universe, in the face of, karma, action and reaction, no one is invulnerable. So whatever has to happen is definitely going to happen, and there is no way out, no escape. The only escape basically is to be open-minded, to adapt, to go with the flow, and to abandon rigid, unhealthy old rules and traditions and dogmas and all of that. So basically that is going to be a major karmic manifestation which is happening. It even started in this present moment, and it is going to take place in the next 6 months. Now moving on, the next message is the Four of Wands and the Devil. And this speaks for some people who have lived a very minimalistic lifestyle until this present moment, and not only because that was their material circumstance in life, but because they always understood the deep meaning of modesty, the blessing that they don't really need to have everything in their lives, and of course, they never ever wanted to live like other people. They didn't want to compare themselves to others, and to do the exact same thing. So of course this had a toll, this had a price, that they had to live pretty much minimalistically. And of course their families of origin, the Four of Wands, it was also a main factor in this. So basically this message is for some people who started out in this life with scarcity. Don't really want to use the word poverty, but rather a minimalistic, not so luxurious lifestyle. Because all of this wasn't that negative. Of course there were very hard moments when it was actually more poverty than anything else, but most of the time it was just discipline, it was just lucidity, living life in a very balanced and disciplined manner. So that meant that you didn't have all the luxury and all the unnecessary wealth and prosperity and all of that in your life, but neither did you sacrifice your morality, your dignity, your family, and everything that was very important to you. But anyway, the devil speaks that right now with this very powerful Mars, you're going to be stepping into a new chapter of your karmic journeys where you will have to experience some very material and physical things, the joys of life basically, where for some people this definitely represents a life of greater ease, greater prosperity, where all the joys, the pleasures, the carnality of life is going to be a big theme. And the advice here is, do not resist, do not take this as greed. It is simply your right and your turn to experience whatever this is. And since you're so modest, and since you value everything in a very healthy manner, don't be afraid that this will corrupt you. This is basically your opportunity to live what you couldn't live before, and it's not going to be excessive, it's not going to be corruptive, it's not going to be anything negative, even if deep inside of yourself you might associate, a very earthly kind of existence with low vibe, so you naturally keep away from it. But this is just a divine present for you to experience something so very different. And this doesn't mean that this is how your life is going to be forever. This is just an opportunity for you given by the divine because you basically earned it. You don't have this experience yet, what it means and feels like to be able to immerse in life's pleasures without even limit if you don't wish to. So just take it as it is. Whenever this opportunity arises, you can just embrace it and live with it. And since you're really not afraid to lose it, to make it permanent and all that, you're so very comfortable releasing it when it no longer serves you. So just take it as an opportunity and try to enjoy it and try to live it as an experience rather than, luxury and all that. And of course, analyze it. See the blessing in it, see the joy in it, see the positivity in it of things coming to you more easily, of being attractive and physically loved by your partner or a specific person or by more people. Either way, this is meant to offer you a window of opportunity to experience even earthly joy in a very intense and profound way, so that you can, analyze it and know what it means for you. You can see the good sides, the bad sides, and it can just be a really positive experience with a lot of lessons in it for you. Now, collectively, it is a totally different picture because it represents the backlash of all the social distancing rules and all the restrictions. Instead of making people a little bit more open to compassion, to solidarity, it actually had the opposite effect, where this very powerful and intense Mars just triggers survival mentality. It triggers rage, aggression, the ego, me, I have to survive, my family has to be okay, we have to have everything insured for our futures. So a lot of people will suddenly and unexpectedly enter a very intense survival mentality and stay there for the next 6 months. So naturally, this is bad news for the collective, because more and more people, especially that for one's families, so it's not just an individual, but rather their whole families, their whole extended, even social circle, is going to be having a massive change of attitude, where the selfishness and me, and let's survive by all costs and all means necessary, that is going to be a major theme in their lives. So this means conflict. This means that the lives of other people, those who are rather more compassionate, are going to be that much harder, because cooperation is going to be an illusion, basically. Now moving on, we have the next message is the Seven of Swords reversed and the Four of Swords reversed. And this message is pretty straightforward to some people. This represents that Mars is going to activate in your lives the need to complete some official documents, paperwork, or maybe official matters in your life. You know, these issues, this paperwork or something might have to do with the law, legislation, official document, getting registered, for example, here and there, maybe an inheritance that you just need to sort out. It is just paperwork and officialities, but these have been stagnating for some while now, and not always because of external situation. Sometimes it was just you not being ready to go out and, solve all of these stressful and complicated papers and go, for example, to notaries or lawyers or to institutions or councils. You just didn't have the nerves for it. And for some people, it is even about like health insurance or things which are quite important, or taxes, or paperwork, basically. So for them, this activated Mars, that they will actually have to mobilize themselves and go and sort out all of this paperwork, get registered where it is needed, complete the documents, sign the papers, sort out the contract. All of this is going to be a major necessity in the next 6 months. If you have this inner calling to go and sort this out, or if you get an invitation, correspondence or information or communication, chances are it would be rather beneficial for you to go and sort out everything, because this will be a time when everything can come together with greater ease and a greater haste, and at least you will know that it is done and sorted. Now collectively, however, this represents the internet, where the rules and registrations governing the internet and the sharing of information and even the media is going to suffer a massive change. There can be censorship in some areas and the lifting of currently existing censorship in other areas, but either way, this represents a moment of confusion and chaos, where the internet will be like the wild, wild west because of this very active Mars, because so many different forces, different representatives, people sharing so very diverse information is going to make things that much more complicated. So we can expect changes, adaptation, and of course also some moments of standstill. What I'm trying to say here is that the internet and whatever we can find or do on the internet might not be that reliable in the very close future. Now the next message is the 10 of Coins and the 2 of Cups. And this is a really beautiful message because it represents that a very active Mars, for some people, it is going to basically trigger their most profound soul level desires, which is taking them out, making them exit from certain areas of their lives. For example, if some people were very, very focused on their careers, on a big goal, on a big purpose, maybe they wanted to complete something, maybe they had studies, maybe they had certain dreams, well, all of this is going to be put on hold, and suddenly, and maybe unexpectedly, they will come to the realization that having a family, a very stable and strong relationship, a partnership, romance, or someone they can totally rely on a soul level is the most important thing in their existences. So every other area of their lives is going to be put on hold by them, of course, and they will use the empowerment of this very active Mars to seek out their partners and to build a very stable life for themselves. This is where, as soon as they will find each other, as soon as they will find their potential families or the person who they're going to be settling down with, well, the material situation and everything material in their lives is going to adapt itself. Of course, not just through karmic forces and divine help. They will work towards this actively. They will invest a lot of effort and sacrifices to create that 10 of coins in their lives, basically the most supreme expression of material stability. But that doesn't mean a life of luxury. It just means stability and security, and that's it. Because the relationship itself, the 2 of coins, is going to be the biggest source of happiness, stability, motivation, and whatever you want in their lives. And basically, it won't even matter what happens externally in the world, because their relationship, establishing their families, or finding that soul level connection that they really wish to have in their lives is going to be the future that would make them the most happiest and safe and stable and, being happy in their own lives. Now, collectively, this might have to do with business, where the rules and regulations which usually govern business, but these are the unofficial, unwritten rules. These are just the tactics, these are just the unwritten principles that usually govern transaction, business, and all of that. Now, these are going to change in a very favorable way, because new alliances, associations, and business partnerships are going to be born. But whereas in the past this wasn't that much possible, because these associations would be highly unusual, even weird, they wouldn't have made that much sense in the world how it was just like 3-4 months ago. But this is where in the future are going to be more than viable, reliable, and they're going to work in almost perfect harmony. So this represents a massive upgrade of the rules and traditions and customs, the unwritten and unofficial ones, of course, usually govern trade and transactions and associations, jobs, partnerships, and all of that. So this is going to give birth to highly unusual but successful cooperations, collaborations, partnerships, and new business models, basically. And how does Mars complement all of this? Well, where there is a will, where there is an imagination, there is a way. So some people are going to benefit from the highest qualities and expression of this very powerful and active Mars. Now, moving on, we have in the next message, we have the King of Cups and the Four of Wands reversed. So for some people, this very active Mars is going to trigger, enliven, or create a conflict within the family. This King of Cups can represent a father figure. Maybe you are the father or the parental figure, or maybe you are a child, or a sibling or a family member. But of course, it can also represent like a romantic partnership, for example, a marriage. And this Mars is going to trigger a lot of conflicts, misunderstandings, but it will ultimately pull to the surface certain truths, certain pains that stem from the past, which need to be spoken out, which need to be expressed, which need to be said. So on one hand, of course it is going to trigger some kind of conflict, for some people even separation, divorce, moving away from your family, the unity of the familiar circle, being broken. But even though this will have a lot of assertive moments, this is nothing negative, because it is like a karmic encouragement for you and everyone else in the family to go towards their own separate directions, because solidarity and the union of a family, regardless if it means like an extended familiar circle or even just a simple marriage where it's just you and your partner, a forced union is never going to lead towards a very happy life. And that is why exactly this King of Cups is in upright position, because even if it's a separation, even if it's going in separate directions, it is for everyone's happiness. And because it is for happiness, it is for emotional fulfillment, for being happy in your own life, everyone has to accept this and everyone has to honor it, basically. So even though a lot of conflicts can arise, this is actually in the highest good of everyone involved in here. So if it's a divorce, what comes next is a life of fulfillment and freedom and self-love, self-nurture. And of course, since this King of Cups is upright, it doesn't mean that all connections with the family or with the partner or with whoever have to be broken and severed. It will definitely continue. The love and the nurture and the support is still going to be there. Just that, this is where destinies and the life paths have to diverge and split up. But as I said earlier, this is towards everyone who is involved in this situation for their highest good. And collectively, this just means that the number of separations, divorces, families splitting apart because of their ideologies, religious views, and whatever makes them happy individually is going to spike massively. And of course, on one hand, this will have a very negative effect because, a separation is never a pleasant experience, especially when it happens suddenly because of an emotional awakening. But on the other hand, a lot of people are going to find themselves in a freedom, availability, openness towards new connections, which just enter their lives very unexpectedly and suddenly, and that can offer them chances and opportunities which they never had before. So yes, the immediate effect is a lot of divorces and separations spiking and conflict and violence even inside families because of religion and any other type of emotional issues. Well, that is going to be a major theme, but what follows after, maybe in 2021 and later on, is going to be ultimately towards everyone's highest good. And last but not least, we have the Three of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups. This is a really beautiful combination because a lot of people are currently, even in this present moment, searching for their ideal jobs, activities, or wherever they can immerse themselves into and use their skills, talents, potential, their intellects, the power of their, wills, basically, to do something constructive, to work towards a collective greater good, to contribute physically even to something, as in work, as in building something, and that can provide them with income and everything that they need. But this is where the Knight of Cups the emotional element, feeling that they belong there, feeling that that is what they're supposed to be doing, feeling the satisfaction and the joy of doing that activity is the essence, the very core of what they're seeking. And chances are more and more people are going to find it. Some people are going to use that Mars to create this for themselves. Other people are going to use this Mars to seek out what is meant for them, while others still are just going to use this Mars karmically to attract something really suitable into their lives. So either way, this means finding what they want to do in life and doing it basically. So if it's a job, if it's a career, if it's even charity or something that you really want to do, or you're looking for something much more meaningful, well, this is really good news for you, because chances are that very powerful Mars is going to lead you to the bullseye. You're definitely going to find what you were looking for, even if it's something that internally already exists within you. You just need to find the external expression basically. Or if you don't even know yet what you want to do, but you have this inner calling, you're meant to do something and you're just figuring out what it is, well, in either way, you're definitely going to reach your destination and be immersed into it. So this is a really good energy. Collectively, it's even better because this represents the creation of a lot of charities, charitable organizations, compassion, solidarity, humanitarianism, caring for the weak and vulnerable is going to be a major karmic theme. And chances are this very powerful Mars is going to act like a powerful wake-up call, like an inner attraction, even for those people who are usually rather shy and would not go out in the world and do something, even if they really wish it, because of, either personal reasons, that they're like introverts, or they need a little bit more courage, or, faith in themselves. But either way, this is going to spike massively in the world, and this is good news for everyone, because charity, humanitarianism, solidarity basically, social solidarity, the symbolism of Aquarius, well, that is going to be a massive force rising in the world, and that can mean job opportunities, or some people to fulfill their soul purpose that much more. And the Knight of Cups, psychological support, moral support, emotional support, and all the people who offer this is going to increase and become a much more relevant force in the world, and ultimately that means good news for all of us. So in conclusion, the 6 months of Mars in Aries, even when it's going to go retrograde, is definitely going to be a very hard and assertive time for all of us. But fortunately, as we can see, individually it also represents a lot of opportunities and strength to do and complete and to accomplish things that are really important for us personally. And for many people, these have been queuing on the big to-do list for years now. So this can be a really good opportunity. So my personal advice is, no matter what happens, no matter how grim, violent and depressing the situation might look on the world stage, know that personally for you it doesn't have to be the same, because basically you are your own Mars, the own inner warrior in your own life, in your existence. So you can take that energy as you wish, and detaching from the drama and always standing from a position of an observer is always going to be in your greatest advantage, because that is how you know how to seize an opportunity or how to wait for better and more opportune moments. Well, thank you so much for listening. Wish everyone a blessed and safe day. Until next time, bye for now.